Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. We've got a great Domain Sherpa review coming up today with Braden, Drew, and Andrew Miller. As usual, we play the domain game, and this time we've got BackyardBamboo.com, L.ar, Upsells.com, and NewEmpire.com. And then we've got the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet, and we talk about some domains coming up for auction, such as squeegees.com, backhealth.com, virtualbroker.com, and glitter.org. On that note, we do talk a little bit about Drew's irrational fear of glitter. And then we also talk about what the Sherpas see coming for the domain market in Q4. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can also watch the video version at domainsherpa.com or on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. We now have all the past episodes there, so you can dig into the largest library of domain-related podcast content in the world for free. You can also check us out on Apple and Spotify and some of the other podcast platforms as well. And as usual, big shout out to Dan.com, the number one place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. All right, with that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. So let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, and I am the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. I say it on every show. These are the experts, the best in the biz. If you are into domains, this is where you need to be. There are 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review. One, we've got grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas, see what's going on with them. Talk about some related things, some unrelated things. We get into some tangents. We'll try to keep it tight. Today we're on a bit of a hard stop. So we'll try to keep it condensed. So I'm going to stop saying words like I'm saying right now, which is just dragging it out for no reason. I'm just playing. All right. Segment 2 is the domain game. That's where we find out about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses. We keep score. We get some swag to the winner. Guess your swag on, some swagoo, swagalicious. Let's do it. Segment 3, I don't know. I'm on some stuff today, guys. Segment 3 is NameJetGonnaJet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet. That's where we review a list of domains coming up for auction on NameJet. We find out what the Sherpas like, what they don't like, and all that good stuff. And then last but certainly not least, we got GrandClosing, where we discuss anything we haven't already covered, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market, trends, current events, allowing our guests to mention, promote anything that we have not already discussed. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and dive right into the AKAs, the intros. Over to my right, I got my boy Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. the Dirk Diggler of digital assets, a.k.a. Bob Lee Swagger, the sniper, a.k.a. Drew. Drew got what I need, a.k.a. every Rosner has its thorn, a.k.a. never gonna give Drew up, a.k.a. Blackbeard, the domain pirate, a.k.a. Cancel Adams. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Graybeard.
I'm Graybeard. I'm more Graybeard than Blackbeard.
All right, I got to change it up now. I'm changing it in the main sheet. Graybeard, the domain pirate. It is now official. Actually, that even makes it kind of cooler. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
damn right. I'm always original.
That's it. The OG, always imitated, never duplicated. You know, let's go. AR.
Ain't that the truth?
No doubt. All right, man. So what's good? All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to keep it moving unless you got something you want to do.
Nah, keep going.
All right. Down to my lower right, we got my boy Braden Pollock, a.k.a. Tony Stark, a.k.a. Benjamin Button, a.k.a. Eat, Bray, Love, a.k.a. Braden Statham, a.k.a. Braden Pollockton, the Archduke of Calabasas, who does not live in Calabasas, a.k.a. Braden of Iniquity, a.k.a. It's Bray Day and everybody's celebrating, a.k.a. Drew Dog and Dr. Bray. It's not that your domain's worthless. It's that it's worth less. It's okay, though. It's okay. And in this market, that's just what it is. But we're all going to be okay. What's up, man? How you living?
All right.
is Braden.
Are we though? Are we though?
We all gonna make it. It just depends on what your level of making it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Everybody's got it. It's all about expectations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all relative.
You know, like we surviving. You know what I mean? Try to find the wins when you can find them, even when things aren't great. And you know, and at the end of the day, you know, you got more people. For people who are out there who need to hear this, y'all are doing great. It's all going to be fine. You know, for everybody else, pick up the phone and holler at your friends, man. That always makes a difference. You know, I hit up one of my boys a week ago. And I hadn't talked to him in a long, long time, just on a random, hey, thought about him. I was driving in the car. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna pick up the phone, make a call, called him. He was going through some stuff. And, you know, and he basically was like, yo, man, thanks for hollering at me. You know, like this is like really was really great to hear from you. So I'm just saying, you know, for whoever needs to hear it, whoever needs that extra motivation, check in with your people. All right, let me keep it moving though. I don't want to get too serious. We're on this vibe today. We haven't had my man on the show in a hot minute. Below me, we got my boy Andrew Miller, a.k.a. Miller Time, a.k.a. Ace Rothstein, a.k.a. Bill Belichick, a.k.a. the Miller Whale, a.k.a. Running Up That Hill Co., a.k.a. Jack and Jill went up the hill Co., each with $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50. Hey!
Oh,
Shout out to Andrew Dice Clay. I don't know what he's up to right now, but chances are nothing good. But it's all good. What's up, Miller, man? How you living, dude?
Can we get him on the show? That would be awesome.
That would be a good one.
That's somebody.
Don't get much better. Don't get much more better than that. 3 Andrews if it's me, you, and him.
Yeah.
All good, man. All good. I'm actually, you know, I think this is a great market opportunity. So, you know, the best.
Yeah. Well, you're cutting out a little bit. I don't know if No, actually worse.
Yeah. Hilco can't afford that good internet.
The good microphone.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay, that's
there
better.
There you go. Back in the USSR.
Is that better? Is that better?
I say that to my wife all the time. She's like, whenever she's like, oh, I haven't seen that movie. You know, it's like she's never seen like Back to the Future. You know, stuff that like we grew up on. I'm like, what, you grew up in Russia?
No,
you know what I'm saying?
My wife is the same. My wife has never seen Star Wars. She's never seen Wizard of Oz. She has never seen any movie that involved like any form of fantasy or like nothing.
Okay.
Like,
yeah. So none of that.
Explains why Germans aren't creative.
Yeah, there you go. They're too, you know, pragmatic and just, you know, straightforward on that shit, you know? So it's all good.
It took me Marvel to get to that point. Like once I discovered Marvel, I kind of,
I'm with you on that. You know what I mean? And that's one thing too. I love the Marvel movies, although now it's like, you know, now they're starting to feel, you know, a little bit like it's like a lot of them, you know, and it's like, you know,
I don't know.
They got a little slant on them.
Oh no, we're not going to get no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I didn't say anything.
We're not going to.
By the way, I do want to say.
Look at Braden just gave us a people's eyebrow.
Oh, yo, maybe that's a Halloween. We got a Halloween episode coming up. I got to think.
Less than an hour.
All right, yeah, fair enough. All right, but go ahead, Miller.
Is my sound back?
Yes, you're all good.
Yeah.
If you want to say I'm in receipt of my swag.
See, let's go. See, that's what's up, man. And Braden, one last one. Braden's got more coming, so I gotta figure out what we're sending him. But
no, I don't. Don't make promises.
Hey, you have swag. You've got some swag already. You know.
I know. I appreciate it.
I've seen it. I've seen it in the internet. I saw it on social media.
It was worth the wait.
Exactly. That's it, man. You know. Plus, it's like got the sweet smell of victory on it. You know what I mean? So it's you know, it's not just you're not just basking in the glory of our brand. You're also vibing in the vibe of your success, which makes it that much better. All right. Well,
a lot of words, man. A lot of words.
Let's keep it moving. All right. So Drew Rosner, Drew. What do you got, man? It's the domain game. You got to buy, you got to sell. What are we talking about?
Oh man, I don't have much. I'm gonna talk about a little sale.
All right.
Talk about a little sale. Backyard. This is going to be super out of character for me. All right, ready? BackyardBamboo.com.
Are things that slow, dude?
Well, what? I mean, I never talk about it like brokerage deals, right? So I always talk about buys or sells for me. And I have not really bought or sold anything of consequence in the last week.
Bamboo.
Yeah, so we'll Braden first, and the good news is I don't know what this sold for, so I get to guess. But
that was also one of the reasons I picked it, because it just sold yesterday.
Hey, last time what we did, we put the numbers on the phone and then turned the phone.
Oh yeah,
in order to
I like that. I think that's a good strategy.
Yeah, so we just use the calculator or whatever And
you owned BackyardBamboo?
Yeah, you know what's funny is I've owned that name for like I don't even know.
Yeah,
like a super long time. Let's see.
I can't believe you own that name. I don't know why you would own that name.
Well, I was obsessed with bamboo. I still am actually obsessed with bamboo. And I own a lot of domain names around bamboo.
All right.
Okay.
Ready? Oh, Miller, you got a phone that you can. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, flip. All right. Oh, yep, you're good. All right. So for the folks that are listening, Braden's got 2,500, Miller's got 11,250, and I've got 7,500. So we've got a pretty good range here. I like this. This is good.
And the win goes to Braden. Spot on, bang on. There it is. That's the number.
All right. Well, we got
$2,500.
Well, you got to let everybody give their justification first. I know we're on a bit of a time crunch, but
you can't justify that. There's nothing to justify. Listen, I never, ever accept the first offer. Somebody offered $2,500. I said, wow, that name is yours.
Okay.
Yes. So my justification was that it's a crappy name. Like, I don't know why you own it, but you probably saw it in your portfolio and you're like, why the hell do I got it now, so I'll just hold. And then you said the first person to raise their hand takes it for whatever it is they offer me.
100%.
All right.
100%.
All right. Well, that's good. I was giving it a little bit more.
I've owned this name since 2006.
What'd you pay for it?
I probably hand registered it. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. So you've been hanging on to it for what, 15 years, 16 years?
Yeah.
And so now it finally got.
So let's say we got roughly 160 into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a
20x.
Yeah, it's a good return. Well, I guess for me, I look at it like I don't think the name is that bad. I think it's one of those things I could see.
What?
Backyard.
It literally embarrasses me that I even had the cognizance to register it. Like,
all right, fair enough, man. Hey,
I'm with JT a little bit though. I'm like, if somebody is actually looking for that name, like they're a restaurant or they're a business that's called BackyardBamboo, and maybe you could actually, get them up to 10, 11 grand, right? Like, because who the hell wants that domain? Somebody. Whoever wanted it for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of honesty on both, or let's say truth on both sides of that. So, just super quick, because this is not worthy of much discussion. But I did a quick Google search when the offer came in. I didn't see anything noteworthy. I saw some Instagram account that had 40 followers. I saw. There was nothing. There was just nothing out there of consequence. It actually is used a lot, but of nothing of consequence. And so I had the exact same thought process you did, which was like, all right, if somebody wants it, they want it, right? And they started with $2,500, which look, I've got 7-figure names that people come in with lower offers than that. And so
you're not kicking the tires on BackyardBamboo.
Yeah. So I thought about putting it. I think 11 is rich. I don't think I just don't. Who's paying 10 or plus for that name? But like, I thought maybe I should go 5, and I said, you know what? At 5, somebody's making a decision, and it's a yes or a no, and I'll take that 2,500 over a no 100,000 times over. So it's stay lucky.
I think that's fair. I think, and then
put it on a credit card. Don't give them an opportunity.
100%.
Like, well, maybe it's.
Don't think. But here's the deal: the dude, I clicked accept. It sold on Sato. I clicked accept. That dude paid in 15 minutes. So I definitely could have gotten
I view
more.
that one a little differently. Yeah,
there definitely was more upside because the guy paid like this, but. You got to evaluate things on an upside downside basis.
Maybe it's a movie. Who knows, right? You just don't know what's coming. But
we said it a lot. I think it was either the last episode, but it's kind of like for you guys who've had these names for a long time, right? What the activity looks like on those names, right? And if you have a name and it's not like it's in the space like it's it's Web3 or it's something that's there's a reason why all of a sudden there's a lot of attention to it, right? It's a name that hasn't changed for any pop culture trend reason other than maybe people spending time at home and want to, do some backyard work or whatever. But, at the end of the day, it's like you've had a name for 15 years and you've never gotten an offer like that on the name before, or you've had it listed for sale and it's never gotten any kind of action.
Never had an offer of any sort.
Well, that's what I mean. So it's like at some point,
sometimes those are historically, sometimes those are my better surprises because
it's true. It's true.
But context is important, and you have, no one has more context than a domain owner who's had a particular name for over a decade. That's all, and I think that's important. That's so I think that makes sense. And a 20x is still a 20x, baby. So all good. So it's so that's what's up. All right, Braden gets the point, dead on. Sounds good, I guess. But he can't get the next one because the next one is his name to bring up. So let's see what's up. Let's see who's going to tie this game right now.
All right. I thought I was going to have a sale for you because I had a call scheduled for the other day, which did not happen. So I'm gonna have to give you another purchase.
Okay.
Second time, and I'm gonna stick with the theme. It's a single character. Which I don't normally buy. I just happened to buy another one. Letter L. .ar.
Ooh, .ar, baby.
Loser.
L.ar.
Yeah.
L.ar.
You took an L.
I'm speechless to
you
give
copped an
it
L, dog.
Yeah. Wait, by the way, the AR stands for Andrew Roseman.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn right. I am my own country.
Burn a L.ar. Let's go.
What's that? That's Argentina. Yeah. Well, man, with a strong dollar and a weak peso, I'll probably get buy Argentina on the cheap.
All right. So let's go ahead and let's see what's good.
Forget the one letter. Let's go buy the whole extension.
Buy the whole country.
It's a good extension.
All right. Drew,
sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Hold up. Okay.
Let's go. All right. I do like this method, by the way. This is cool. I might even get myself a board.
Background. It doesn't come up very easily. But,
but it is what it is. All right. Ready, set, go.
No idea is the answer.
Okay. So Andrew says, Drew Rosner says 5,000. JT, heavy. I don't know.
I said 15.
Andrew Miller says 1,250.
I'm thinking it's the screen, but it's really my phone. It just gone black.
JT says 15,000.
Yeah, I went heavy, I think. But all right. So, and I'm sorry. What did Miller say?
1,250.
1,250.
All right.
Drew says 5,000. So closest to the pin, Mr. Miller.
Ooh.
Oh wow!
The pin being
man, you stole that.
500.
Wow, you
$500.
$500.
Oh, 25.
So do I need to find the domain now that was 2,500 on my round it all out?
Yeah, seems to be this is the $2,500 show. So it's all right. So let's talk about why, because let me go first because I put 15 grand, so I overshot by a lot, kind of in line with what we talked about last week, where I thought, and I actually liked this one. Last week it was it D.FR, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And and what did you pay for that one?
I paid 15 grand for D.FR.
Right. So that's kind of, I was sort of, so I was a little bit anchored in what we talked about last show. And for those reasons, it was, look, you got a single character in almost any extension, especially a country code. This one is pretty cool. L.ar. I mean, I think Los Angeles Rams, Larry, there's a lot of pretty neat stuff. It's super short. I mean, and it's almost, it's pronounceable. So actually in a lot of ways.
Boy, that's a stretch, man. Los Angeles Rams.
What do you mean? That's their thing. Yeah. It pops up. They play, you know what I'm saying? Super Bowl champs, man, even though they didn't look great against the Cowboys. But if we're going to talk football, we should talk about the Eagles, at least for a hot second.
Or not. Let's move back.
That's definitely
not. I got Miller on the show, man. This is when I can actually talk sports because you guys
I got my boy Jalen Hurts on my team.
Let's go. Let's go.
Back to L.ar.
I know. Anyway, we got a tough one coming up against the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't feel great about it. But okay. Anyway, that defense is crazy. Michael Parsons, Penn State. Shout out. Anyway, okay. All right, fine. I've been trying to take these meds, man. They just, seem to have the opposite effect. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah,
I like .ar.
So this, this is what I was saying. So FR, this whole idea of France.
Can you just let the guy explain?
But I was in the middle of going through my thing first. Explain.
You talked about the Los Angeles Rams.
All right.
Let's talk about hosting skills.
All right, fine.
The
Go ahead.
host asks the questions, and then the host lets the guests talk.
Hey, man, we're all co-hosts. We're all on the show enough. You know what I mean? I just happen to be the one that starts the show. I'm the one who just has to turn on the Zoom. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Braden. Tell everybody what. Go talk.
So AR, augmented reality, right? So there are companies using it. As far as Argentina, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about what Argentina is doing with .ar.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
They would care about a single character. I didn't do the research, but I figured, there might be an augmented reality company out there that likes the letter. A single character is good for $2,500. I'll take a shot at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that was my point I was going to make, is that where .fr, is French, more like the .de. I think you might get a little bit of that sort of regional interest based on the actual extension. In this case, I think it's the generic application of augmented reality that gives it real value. And this one is one that we haven't really seen like kind of pop, like, .ai has some traction, and obviously IO and XYZ and Web3. But, I think AR has an interesting application with the augmented stuff. Obviously left of the dot, right of the dot, the matching it up. But a single character, I think you got a great deal.
Most importantly, give me my point.
Yeah, most importantly, give Miller the point. All right, so we're 1-1. And well, Miller, you can't get the next point. So let's see what happens on this next one then. So yeah, good job, Braden. Good job.
On Braden's thing, I mean, my answer was in the same as Drew. Like, he just took for Backyard Bamboo. I'll just take what I got. I feel like it had to be, I'll just grab it no matter what the hell price. And that's why it was so low for Braden's guess. Because I figured it was kind of a no-brainer. All right, I'll just take a flyer kind of price point. All right. I have a sale, because I don't have a buy to talk about right now. But personal domain I've had since 2005, upsells.com.
Upsells.
And there will be a caveat asterisk on the explanation, but that's okay.
As always.
Caveat.
Okay, so upsells.
Plural, correct.
All right.
Upsells. All right. All right. You all let me know when you're ready to turn them. 1, 2, 3.
Can't see it. 25, 15, and 14, 8, 8, 8. All right. Let's see. Is it closest to the pin?
It's
closest to the pin.
Yeah.
I think
you're silent. What was that?
Silent. Am I back?
Yes, you're back now.
Sorry, but I don't know what's going on. My AirPods. I can always take them out. Let me know if I go out again. So JT is closest to the pin, technically, I suppose, in the school of price to right. So price was $7,500.
Oh shit.
Caveat.
Well, no, wait. What did Braden have?
15,
oh yeah.
15.
Right. Yeah,
I boxed him out.
I just went with 2,500 because that was what every other name was.
Right, Jess of Rosner. Very Price is Right. With the 14,998.
But this is the beauty of this new method, is that I didn't know what Braden had, right? I couldn't play, I couldn't just play the game.
Strategically, Very Price is Right. Strategically. But you can't go over on the Price is Right? You have to be under.
Yeah.
So the caveat being, I had it as a buy it now price on Afternic, and I didn't realize it, and it sold. So I actually think if I knew, I just lost track of it or something. So I think I would have had it priced a little bit higher, closer to 15, honestly. My control was gone. Fast transfer. Woke up and it was gone. So.
Yeah, I liked 5K for it. That's actually the number I initially put in. Then I said, then I thought, whatever. It's 2,500 has been the number. But yeah, I mean, to talk about upsells, I mean, you guys like it better as a plural versus a singular? I mean,
I think it's a good name, personally, right? I've always liked, I came out of, my first business was Appy, right? Was going back to Suzanne Summers was, we had a direct response television business that was pretty successful. And, that's how we found the internet, as everybody knows my story. And upsells are a big thing in that world and in QVC and HSN, and it's a plural term. And, upsells are a big thing on the internet, right? You get upsold all the time for shit. GoDaddy being the king of upsells, right? Mm-hmm. So, as a customer. So I think it's a good buy for somebody, honestly.
What do y'all think, Braden?
I mean, I think it's kind of it's industry jargon. I mean, I don't think the average person says upsells. It's like the upsell, or upsold, or you can upsell somebody. But within the industry, you would talk about the upsells, right? It's very much jargon.
B2B jargon.
Yeah.
But I also think in a time where I know, having involvement in certain companies as an investor and stuff, where there's just so much liquidated inventory and so many businesses right now going on, like crazy amounts of inventory being liquidated on Amazon and through liquidators and multiple business lines. It's an interesting kind of opportunity, I think, for someone, I don't know where they're going with it or who bought it, but I think it could be a cool little business for someone if they're in it already, especially.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, I would have priced it higher.
And then, Drew, what do you think? Get your feedback, and then.
I mean, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. I think it's a good sale.
I bought it for $656 on Buy Domains.
That was going to be mine. Yeah. No, I mean, so hey, at the end of the day, it's a solid return on a name that maybe you could have squeezed out a couple more dollars from, but I think it's all good.
Look, I think at the end of the day, the moral to the story here of both of our sales is just get humble, sell names, raise cash. That's it.
I wasn't sad about it, right? I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't like, oh my God, what a mistake! Holy crap, I can't.
But it's a mindset. Just take deals. Take deals. Take deals. That's it.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know about humble because Andrew did like what 11x or whatever that is, and Drew, yours is what 200 or something.
Yeah, but still, I mean, in terms of like, I would have normally pressed for a higher value. Look, if this was 6 months ago, I would have been like, $2,500, and I'd rather take the punt on the risk of getting the extra 5 or whatever it is, as opposed to just get it out of the portfolio and move on.
And Braden, that's a 17-year 11x.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's okay.
That's that other kind of 11x.
You also have to weigh the time value of 11x. Right? I mean, it wasn't like 11x all day, every day. But yeah,
I don't think either one's a home run, but still, for anybody that owns real estate, they wouldn't have seen that kind of return, right?
No,
even in 17 years. Yeah,
right.
All right, so we've got a situation.
Why we're in this space, right? I mean, that's why we do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a situation where we've got a 1-1-1 deal. So we got to do a tiebreaker. So
situation.
So this is what we're going to do. So here we go. So this is going to be overtime, but only Braden and Miller, since technically I'm due to give a name. So I'm now out. But I'm going to pick a name that recently sold on NameJet. I want to make sure that neither of you guys were heavily involved, but we had talked about it on one of the lists. So I like doing this because it's kind of interesting to see when it comes back around. Were either of you guys involved in, obviously on the honor system to a certain degree, NewEmpire.com? NewEmpire.com?
More aware of what it sold for. Yep.
Okay, that was my next question, right, Braden?
Why don't we just do another one that I bought?
Well, I guess if you want to, that's fine.
I don't care. Whatever. Go ahead.
All right, so NewEmpire, sold on NameJet. What do y'all think? Hands up, phones up.
The problem with NameJet sales is if it spikes because of SEO value or as an end user buyer or something, like then it's hard to know.
Would you rather do it on Drew name?
So you'll lose a sweatshirt that you might get in 2 years.
First of all,
that was well played. Well played.
I know I'm never going to get the sweatshirt, so it's not about
well, you have already gotten a sweatshirt. We saw it. You posted it.
Yeah, you don't play me like that,
dude. You posted it on Twitter or whatever. You were in your like palatial bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like with more marble and gold accents and the whole thing. It looked like I thought you were in Versace's crib wearing our sweatshirt. I know you've gotten the swag before.
There's
You know what
no
I'm
gold in
Shane
that
could take a
bathroom.
bee. Shane could take a bee, put it in a hive, create a honey, bottle it, and send it to me faster than you got me a sweatshirt.
You also have swag too, and so does your son. So let's not you know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real, y'all. Anyway, so it's up to you. We could have Drew kick another name, or we could go with this name. We can go with the
We
name.
just roll with it because we got time wise here.
All right, so go ahead, give me. So this was obviously a sale on NameJet, a buy for somebody. Let's talk about the name is NewEmpire.com.
I'm ready when you are.
I like bringing it back because it's cool to kind of then talk about what a name sold for. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, flip it. Okay, 4,500 for Braden, 2,635 for Miller. And the winner today is, drum roll, please, Billy, give me a drum roll. It is Braden. Boom. What's up? What's up? It sold for $11,000.
Wow.
$11,000 was the sale.
What?
So,
All right. So, but that's exactly what Brady's talking about. Like
That was
that's
my
sold for
point.
11 grand because of SEO. It kind of, probably had 1 million backlinks.
And that's what I was talking about on Bamboo, Backyard Bamboo. If someone really wants that NewEmpire, then they're probably going to pay for it.
No. Different thing.
No.
So this name sold because of a backlink profile, because it's got
Right,
domain rating of
It got
whatever,
bid,
right?
It got bid up to 11,000. It wasn't like a fluke somebody paid
Right.
because
Right.
in an auction it gets bid up to that.
NewEmpire.com.
Yeah,
So-
and
All
so
right.
check
Actually, you know what? This thing has got basically, no domain rating, 4.3. It's only got 300 backlinks. It's got no traffic. It's actually not. This one actually might be a fluke. I don't know why.
So there were two people that bid it up beyond $5,000. We talked about it on the show. At the time, it had the most back orders. It had 120 back orders as of the time we did the show.
These guys are okay. So it's actually a killer end user name. NewEmpire Corp, one of the biggest developers in New York City. NewEmpire Insurance Services. NewEmpire Band. NewEmpire Toledo. That's a Chinese restaurant. Good luck there. But yeah, this is actually an incredible end user name. There's 5 bazillion NewEmpires.
Yeah,
And,
on LinkedIn alone, there's 1,700 results.
Yeah. And this was what I thought. We talked about this one on the show, and I remember it being thought I think we liked it a lot when we talked about it. And keep in mind too, we also talked about it on the show. You know what I mean? So that's going to push up the value. NameJet, just keep that in mind. That sponsor money, you know what I'm saying? When you're thinking about the return, on investment, the ROI, what up? Anyway, but no, and I do like bringing it back sometimes to see how these names did. The one name I was going to bring up was this one, gamershell.com. Did you guys see what that one sold for? Gamershell or gamershell.com? Right? I don't know which one is the actual more preferred way to use it, but that one sold for $29,000.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Gamershell.
But that one's got to be an SEO thing.
I mean, there were 3 bidders that were bidding in that one above 10 grand that ran it up to 30 G's. And the Esteban value was 13,000. So I don't know.
Okay. So that one is what we were talking about before. That's got a domain rating of 67, which is very high. It's got 378,000 backlinks. It's got 12,800 unique referring domain names. And it's ranking for 2 keywords in the top 3, rather.
Boom. So what are the two?
That one sold purely on SEO value.
Yeah, and that one ran up to $29,000. So anyway, pretty crazy. So, well, speaking of NameJet, we're going to slide into that segment here in a second.
First, just want to point out, I got the point, and I'm the winner.
Yeah, exactly.
With that sweatshirt that may never arrive.
Man, the shade is real. The shade is real. Man, I'm gonna just start sending y'all umbrellas. That's what it's gonna come down to. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna send you.
So, just as an example,
that would be a really dope
this,
DomainSherpa branded umbrellas, yo.
Okay, so just as an example of why people do this, whoever bought this has already redeployed it as a bullshit website, and they are promoting health insurance, right? Which is going to be, instead of gamers hell or whatever the hell, it was probably a worthless keyword. They're now promoting this for a $75 keyword. So that's why people do this stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's high risk. It's high risk. There's no guarantees. You got to really know what you're doing. You got to redeploy the site very quickly. You got to rebuild the site infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, well, and I think that's an interesting point. There's a lot of so when you look at what's driving the value of these domains, I mean, that's a pretty interesting one for me anyway. But all right, cool. Well, look, circle gets the square, or in this case, square gets the point, and Braden gets the win. You know what I mean? Because we're all sort of squares within the thing.
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell you're talking about.
So I guess I could have been calling Braden a square on some some whatever.
All right, I'll take it.
Anyway, we're going to go to a commercial real quick. And we come back, we're going to be on our NameJet segment here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. We are sliding into the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet, where we look at a list coming up of domains coming up for auction, see what the Sherpas like, what they don't like. Go to the domainsherpa.com post for this particular episode. You can pull the spreadsheet that has the list of domains. It has the Esteban appraisals, how many back orders as of the time we air the show, how many days left in the back order period as of the date the show airs. All these domains are expiring domains, which means that they're all going to go to private auction, which also means that in order to participate, you have to have your back order in before the end of the back order period. So definitely don't miss that. In fact, we have at least one name that literally goes out the day that this show airs. Along with some other search and and the links to the actual auction pages, we don't get any kind of affiliate revenue. So for us, we're purely providing this to help y'all to the extent that it helps. But so definitely go get your bid on, and the notorious BID. And I don't know. Today's just that kind of day. Who are we going to start with? Let's start with Braden. We started with Drew with the show with the domain game. So let's NameJetGonnaJet, man. What do you like? What don't you like?
I like one-word names, including nets and orgs, IOs, codes. And so phantom.net is on the list and glitter.org. So I think those are decent names because there's companies called Phantom and companies called Glitter. And instead of Get Glitter or Simply Glitter or whatever, glitter.org is a good alternative because I'm not going to be able to get glitter.com for Phantom. So I like those two names. Virtual Broker, I think, is a good name because like everybody's brokering everything nowadays, and virtual is a good word.
So real quick though, just so go back. So, so for glitter, so you think glitter.org, and this is also for the entire group too. So you guys think glitter.org is better than Glitter app or Try Glitter or getglitter.com? What do you all think from a brand?
I think it depends on what vein you're in. You know what I mean? Like, if you're,
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's better because it's more memorable because you might because the app or the site's going to be called Glitter, right?
Yep.
And they're always going to refer to themselves as Glitter, and so if they're using a Try Glitter, Glitter or Join Glitter, like it's not called Join Glitter. That's just and then it's like, well, what is their site? And people are always going to type in, they're going to type in glitter.com, right? Yep. As a default. But glitter.org is better than, what was it? Was it Try? Was it Get? Was it Join?
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't remember what it is.
Yep. No, I think that all makes. So what do you spend on a name like Glitter? Like, so what's glitter.com worth, right? I mean, that's multi-million-dollar domain, right? Like $1 million for Glitter?
Glitter.com for sure is high 6, low 7-figure name. Yeah.
Right. So then glitter.org is how much? Like how much you're trying to buy it for on NameJet, and then how much you trying to like price it for to a potential end user?
So end user, I mean, that name is probably like a $50,000 name, right? 75,000 maybe. Which means, you gotta buy it for under $5,000.
Okay.
You know, I'd want to buy it for under $3,000. But it's like all names lately, it's going to go too high because
as
we've
seen,
because investors think, oh, great, if I can buy this name and sell it for 5, 6, 8 times what I paid, fantastic. But they forget that it's going to take them, 8 or 10 years to sell this name, and holding costs, and you have to have a lot of names, and sell through is 1 or 2%, et cetera, et cetera. And so, they're not going to get the spread that I need or anybody else that's been in this a long time and recognizes they need the bigger spread.
Okay. Well, that's good. So, all right. So you said virtual broker. You said the same thing, kind of Phantom. Anything else? Anything you don't? There's 15 names on the list, so you get 5 before you get the hook. You got 2 more. Anything you like or don't like?
Back Health, I think, is a decent name because we all sit in chairs, and so there's a lot of back problems out there. I don't think it's the best name, but I think for an inexpensive alternative to some other better name, right? It's not worth it.
Well, yeah, no, and I mean, and that's, I deal with back issues, and like, that line from, Half Baked where the doctor said I need a backiotomy. Billy, play the clip.
And Smoke a Lot opened up to me like I was Barbara Walters. It was ridiculous. He told me about his lawyer.
He had sex with my mama. Why?
His spirituality.
God, if you listen, hell.
His bad back.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
But that's like what I think about. And I agree. Back health, I mean, it's like so many people, everybody I talk to, I commiserate, especially when you get to be as old as me, it's like you start to commiserate around those kinds of things. And it's like, oh man, I got this pulled, this bulging disc. But anyway, go ahead.
How old is you? Are you the youngest person right now on this show?
No, actually,
no, definitely I am.
Drew's the youngest by like,
I probably look the oldest, and I'm actually the youngest.
Yeah, I guess so. So maybe yeah. So let me rephrase that. When you get as old as you guys, as you and Miller, you know what I'm saying? You deal with like back problems and
Braden's a baby to compare it to me, man.
And Braden looks so young.
50th birthday party just happened. Yeah.
So
yeah,
all right,
over a year ago.
Well, anything. All right. So then let's close out your section. Tell me is there anything you don't like? Anything on the list you avoid? You wouldn't even back order, or you're.
Let's see. It's not a terrible. Cower.com is kind of a weird name because it's such a negative. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure how that would be used.
Okay. Well, that's 5. That's 5. That's 5. We're moving on to Miller now. Okay. Moving on to Miller.
So mine's a little easy here. I'm going to stick with one I like, and that's it today.
Okay.
Especially, I don't want to repeat Braden's anyway. So, but in the same spirit, it's funny. It came as I was rushing to get back for this podcast. I came from a meeting with some friends who are, awesome founders and investors in the Boston area. And one of the guys has a news company that he just raised $1.5 million pre-seed for, based on a .org. And a one-word.org. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. It's a great .org for what you're doing. Like, I actually think it works because as Drew said, I don't know if it works with glitter, but in this case, I don't want to say what it is because I don't know how out there he is with this platform yet. It's kind of stealth, but it was a .org that worked. And to that same regard, as someone who's been a youth coach for both of my kids all the way through, and I run the 33-team basketball program still in my town. And I'm pretty involved with some of the Positive Coaching Alliance, which is a big organization. Coaches.org is a phenomenal name because so much in coaching is .org, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of 50, like Positive Coaching Alliance is a 501c3. These are big businesses that are nonprofit, and what an incredible name for them, right? I mean, I'll be bringing this to their attention. I mean, coaches.org, that's what they do. They speak to coaches across youth sports, high school, college, as a massive organization working with pro athletes, and like they're a .org. That's what they are. So it's their category keyword. It's pretty amazing. So like the meeting I had this morning where it was a .org in a similar kind of arena that they're building their businesses on, I feel like coaches.org is a really awesome name on there. Like really good, a really powerful .org because it's in a business line that is focused around a lot of youth sports organizations that are .org. So that's what I had my kind of eyes set on that one. I also like glitter, but
Yeah, well, and the coaches piece is interesting, and we do a lot of youth sports stuff as well. And and I'm on a board for the local, the folks that do a lot of the training and some flag football leagues and stuff like that. And they're also sort of charity, but they're 501c3 as well for certain aspects of their business, and see a lot of the AAU stuff. And I agree with you. I mean, that's why the name. That's why I put it on the list. But I would agree, and I know you can appreciate that. So what do you think the market is for it then? So you're looking at it almost then at that point like an end user, right? Saying, hey, what are you trying to? So if you're trying to buy this as an investor to try to sell it to somebody, is it still in that same kind of vein of like $3,000 and you're trying to sell it for $50,000? Or for you, you're already looking at it like you want to get it and get it to your people. So you're almost looking at it like an end user yourself.
I mean, look, in a different time, I'm intrigued with it personally beyond reselling it, but I don't think I have time for that, unfortunately. So I'm not going to do anything with it in that regard. But I think it's a really great name, and it's a name in the right circumstance. If I'm looking to flip it, yeah, of course it's Braden hit the nail on the head. It's going to go too high, right? I mean, like everything, probably. I'll certainly be looking at it. I guess there's a middle ground. Like, can I help buy it? Then there's the middle ground. Like, hey, I think I know 3 or 4 entities that could use it, and I can get them to buy it. So why don't I, buy it for them? And even if maybe I don't even make any money, right? I just give it to them because they're a great organization and I get tickets to a game or whatever, then I think you're looking at, I think it's like in the right scenario, I could see it being a low 6-figure name in the right scenario. It's a really powerful name, in my opinion, for a lot of things. The sports industry is tough, man. As you know, it's like, it pitched a lot of businesses over 20 years because I've been so involved in it as a board member and a coach, and I've been an entrepreneur. So I get pitched so many ideas for youth sports apparel and platforms and team keeping, and it's a really tough business. It's so localized and fragmented and volunteer based, but something about that name is really, I was involved in a company called Coach Up for years here out of Boston. It raised a lot of VC money, and they were Coach Up, and they service coaches. And I think it's a 6-figure name for the right play. Probably be a buyer, and for a resale, like Braden said, in the 5 range, right? Yeah. And I don't expect it to be there for 5. I don't. I'd be shocked.
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. Well, no, all good stuff. Great feedback. All right. Anything you don't like on the list?
Not really. I mean, that's kind of my one name. Gonna go quality over quantity there.
All right. Hey, man.
All
good.
Quality over quantity.
All right, Drew, to bring it home on the list. What?
Yeah, not a lot to add. I mean, I also love coaches. I think Glitter. I will be a buyer for glitter.org, but for a very different reason. I only fear 2 things. 1 is spiders, and 2 is glitter. I despise glitter. I think it's the worst thing that's ever been invented by human beings. And I want to buy glitter.org and then create the, eliminate glitter from this planet foundation.
Drew with an irrational fear of glitter. I love it.
I do. I legitimately, like, my kids come home from school like, yo, Daddy, look at this. And I try to be super enthusiastic about their, art projects and stuff. But when they come home, it's got a little glitter on it. I'm like, where that's going, right? And it literally I don't play. That goes in the trash.
So you're obsessive, compulsive, and anal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, hey,
glitter does not enter my house.
It is a word in Stairway to Heaven. It is a word in Stairway to Heaven, the most played song of all time.
What's the line?
All that glitters is gold.
In gold. Yeah. And it was also a movie starring Mariah Carey from back in 2001, as a matter of fact. Just doing a little.
So I'll throw a couple more out there just that we didn't talk. Frozenfoods.com. I actually really like that name. I was in the frozen food business, as most of you probably already know. Frozen Foods is a big business. You've got the cooling component of that, like Igloo. Not Igloo. What's the company? Freezer King or something like that. Cold King, something like that. These guys are massive. Right? They do all the reefer containers. Then you've got, you've got cold storage. You've got a couple of major cold storage players: Americold, Norcold, Whatever.
My friends at Green Rabbit.
They're out of
which I
Boston.
sold candy,
They're out of Boston.
which I sold candy.com for, right? They're
Yeah.
in the cold storage business now.
Yeah. Huge business. Tons of private equity going in that space.
Whoever
So I think,
owns cold.com is.
Yeah, seriously, we should.
well, we actually, that was why I wanted to broker your cold.com. We took cold.com to all of them. I continued the conversations and we had deep conversations. I have relationships in that space, pretty good ones. But nobody, it's a B2B business. And so they just didn't want to step up, and pay the kind of money that we were looking for. But I think frozenfoods.com, if you could sell that to them for 25, that's, probably low hanging fruit. I like
Cold.com.
clearface.com.
Cold.com will have its day.
Oh yeah,
No question. No question.
I mean, it's literally one of the it's a top. I mean, that's the definition of a super
killer
premium
name.
domain name. I mean, that literally.
Oh
is
yeah. It just wasn't going to sell into the cold storage.
Well,
space.
and the toughest part is because whoever owns it is probably, I think is probably bringing it down the value a little bit just based on them being the owner, So. Wait, full disclosure, Braden owns cold.com for those of you who don't know. All right.
Clearface, I think, it's a nice little brand. Somebody in the cosmetics probably have Clearface, but be careful. I'm too lazy to go look it up. There probably is trademarks out there. And then I think Back Health is actually underrated. I think that's actually a really good name.
Great name.
A bunch of applications. Yeah, I think Back Health is a great name. I think that's
just SEO wise, right? I mean,
well, there's no search. There's no exact match search actually, which was a little surprising to me. But I think that's a name you pick up for $1,000 and probably sell at some point in the next 10 years for 25. It's 50. Yeah. So I think Back Health is I think that's a great name. And I'll leave it at that. I want to love squeegees, but nobody can spell squeegees. It's funny. I was in my steam room this morning, and I was all pissed off, yelling because my kids had taken the squeegee out my steam room. And I couldn't clean up the big puddle of water on the bench, and I was all pissed off. So I have an affinity for squeegees.com today.
All right. Well,
I mean, that really is the definition of first world problems. Right.
Yeah, exactly. My sauna.
That's a rough
Listen,
let me just tell you, that's a rough visual. I'm trying to you in the steam room, pissed at 7 a.m. without the squeegee and yelling God knows what.
Where's my squeegee?
I'm sure it was much.
Come out, slip. You know what I'm saying? Where's the squeegee? God damn it.
Were you butt naked in the steam room, sitting on the bench in the puddle of water?
You're like, the perfect day if I just had my
great
squeegee.
beer.
Is there any other way to be?
Then you came out of the steam room and the butler was not there with your latte.
Yeah, exactly. That is literally what's beyond a first world problem. You know what I'm saying? There's
everything is relative. All right. Everything is relative. There's
actually
interesting studies on this.
Money is relative. The more money you have, the more relative.
A palace problem.
More money, more
I mean,
problems.
this is more than a first world, so this is more than a first world problem.
Just not to go off the rails, but it actually is really interesting. I read a study maybe a year ago or so that talked about this relative suffering, that all suffering is relative. If you have no food and no water, no shelter, you are at the maximum point of suffering. But how does that level of suffering compare to somebody who has normally a very high level standard of living and then suddenly loses that standard of living, even though their new standard of living is still way above the person with, no access to shelter or water or food. And the actual degree, the biochemical feeling that we have of suffering is no different between those two individuals. It's identical.
Sure.
And what that shows you is that suffering is actually just a relative thing. There is a maximum level of suffering that you can have, and then what gets you there is relative to your circumstances.
Yep, and
whether or not you can find your squeegee,
or whether or not your squeegee
100%.
has been taken, and because I also read something too, which talked about how individuals, right, the way that they manage sort of that stress and those kinds of things, it's almost based on the person themselves, right? So it's like, certain people, are just much better at dealing with certain things. So it's like, even though they may have like, harder things having happened to them, they get to a certain relative level of like happiness in whatever their current circumstances are better than other people, right? So it's like, the idea that it's just kind of like, if you're somebody who's going to be unhappy, who's just predisposed to being unhappy, you're going to be unhappy whether you're poor or whether you're rich, right? You become rich and then you become unhappy about other things, and it's other things in your life that you kind of dwell on. For me, I find it interesting that it's like, depending on how we're doing, I kind of find things that, sort of my level of things that I worry and get concerned about, become broader and broader, like further outside of my like sort of scope of touch. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, if it's, hey, we're struggling with a money situation, then, then I'm like stressed out about that. Then it's like, oh, hey, we're doing okay from a money standpoint right now. Well, now I'm super stressed out about like politics. You know what I mean? It's like people will naturally just kind of continue to latch onto something. If they're predisposed to being sort of miserable, they're going to naturally latch onto that stuff. So it's why for people, it's like less about them just improving their station in life, but also trying to improve their own outlook and how they manage those stresses and stuff. Because again, it's like you'll always find something to be stressed about. It's just a question of finding that level of zen. And sometimes it's not about what you have, it's about how you manage what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? So, hence the whole idea of just make that phone call. See, it ties back to what I was saying before. You just don't know where people's heads are at. So even if you think people are doing great, sometimes they're not, and, they may look great from the outside, but not necessarily what's really happening inside their life, or what they're dealing with and stuff. So anyway, just throwing it out there. I don't know. Today's like a mental health day, here at on Domain Sherpa. But I will say about squeegee, I believe that this is the actual correct spelling of squeegee. I don't know if squeegee is like a trademark term. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Is a generic term. I've done zero research to understand it. Is it, it's kind of like, what's that?
It's like Band-Aid. It was an original product called squeegee that then, became the household name for that thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Like like Band-Aid has.
Aspirin and all that. Yeah.
But it's plural. So it can't be a brand. It has to be
correct.
BMD.
Yeah.
Correct. Because it's plural. Yep.
And that one, for what it's worth, squeegees goes out of the back order deadline, like is as of the day this is airing, is today. Meaning if you're listening to this show a day later, squeegees is already in auction and somebody else is going to be the proud owner of squeegees.com. And it might even be
squeegee. The word goes all the way back to 1783, and it was in reference to a tool used to clean the deck of ships.
No way. Yo, that's pretty crazy. Squeegee, look at that.
There's steam room in the ship.
Well, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And the captain, you know what I'm saying? And the captain would get mad when all the deckhands would steal the squeegee and try to use it for the actual deck as opposed to the steam room. Hence the term steal my squeegee. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Don't underestimate the steam. All right.
Yeah. It's great for your health, So I remember that.
Absolutely.
So the book Tools of Titans, written by TimFerris. Big shout out to TimFerris. He mentions how, he's got a couple of products that he sort of talks about and different things that, because the whole idea of Tools of Titans, he interviews all these really thought leaders across all these different spaces and things and all these cool people, and trying to find common threads between everything that, they, what makes them successful. And but he mentions a few one of the things he talks about is the steam room, and he's like, I don't even want to mention the brand because I'll mention it and then they're going to be inundated with orders. But that was one of the things that he mentioned.
Because that would be a bad thing, right?
Well, yeah, I guess he was just, and maybe just kind of, he was just touting how he's got that kind of influence, you know what I mean? So, but he did not mention squeegees though. He didn't mention squeegees. Yeah, he's a G for sure. But, anyway, all right. Well, we've only got a couple minutes, so we're down to segment 4. So that was it. That was the list. So definitely, so don't miss the auction for squeegees. If you're interested, get after it right away. And that's what's good. So,
who are you telling that to? Watch this in 3 days.
What's that? This is going to launch. This goes live in 2 days. 2 days. We record on Tuesdays. We air on Thursday.
And won't squeegees be gone?
No. Squeegees will go out of the back order deadline is Thursday.
Oh, I thought you said the auction was ending. Sorry, my bad.
No. That's what I'm saying. So that's why if you look at the list, it says 0 because effectively, this is it. So today's the day, 11 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. Anyway, so all right. With that, Segment 4, grand closing. Anything people want to talk about? Miller, you haven't been on the show in a hot minute, so let's do this we'll do this backwards, but in order. But what's up? What's good with you, man? What's good with Hilco? What's happening in your world?
2 minutes.
No, don't even need it. I think I posted this in my kind of LinkedIn Sunday thing I do every Sunday thoughts thing. And look, I think it's going to be a really good. Despite the market, despite all kinds of challenges in the general climate, which are real and not going away quickly, I think it's going to be a very good quarter for domains, for like premium.com domains. I really get the sense that there's going to be some good, big, strong deals that happen between now and Christmas. And just my gut read here. I mean, I get a monster one closing that I cannot talk about at any level. So I'm sorry. That's just how it's going to be. A monster one any minute. And I think there's going to be more. I'm sensing more interest and more conversations. And maybe it's the fourth quarter. Maybe it's cash is kind of a lot of cash without a lot of place to deploy it. Maybe it's opportunistic. I don't know. But I'm pretty bullish for the fourth quarter.
Okay, cool. Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We're obviously
selectively.
Yeah, and that's what we've talked about. And we've talked about that and said, look, the market in general, obviously, they're going to continue to raise rates. It's going to continue to apply downward pressure on the equity markets. It's going to continue to put weird pressure on, create this sideways activity in crypto. But, where you do have cash on the sidelines, and even though VCs and private equity firms and so much of their mandate is, hey, we got to cut costs, but, the winners are still going to be getting a lot of attention. And in fact, maybe even more, because now they're going to have to be even more sort of all in on, and really helping the big ones win, as opposed to spreading more cash out to more companies. It's going to be, more selective, but those that are going to be selected are going to need the premium domains. They're going to get real money. And, and I think that's something we're going to continue to see. So I think that's interesting and kind of in line with a lot of what we've talked about, a lot of what Drew has been kind of banging the drum about and all that good stuff. But, but it will be funky in the meantime. I mean, it's not all going to be easy. Definitely not for everybody. So, Braden, what do you got, man? So,
cycles.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel the same as Andrew. I've got a bunch of conversations happening, and just nothing is closing, which is driving me crazy. But I mean, actually, Andrew's got a couple of my names he's in discussions on. Kate's got 2 discussions happening, 2 different negotiations. I've got a couple. And I'm just waiting for something to close, and they're not all going to close. Some are going to drop out. One just dropped out last week, but 1 or 2 have to close soon, and I think Q4 is going to happen before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
All good things and all good time, as Jerry Garcia says.
All right, yeah, no doubt. All right, and then Drew, what about you, man? You got anything to close out with? We got 90 seconds.
No, I'm pretty zenned out. Just kind of, I'm on my longboard. I'm riding the wave and just watching, keeping my eyes open, watching what's going on. We got a lot of cash, and I'm looking to take advantage of, depressed markets, domains, markets, Bitcoin. I'm going to be extremely selective, but that's it. I'm just trying to stay alert and aware and interpret events and make intelligent decisions, because I think we're in a once in a lifetime environment, and I want to be smart about how I tackle it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, cool. Well, that's a great way to close out. And so thank you, everybody, for taking the time today. Boys, I appreciate y'all being here. And to the audience, I want to say thank y'all, as I say on every show. Without you, there's no us. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know. We're not hard to find. You got any comments, good, bad, ugly, hit us up. Otherwise, we'll catch everybody next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, y'all.
Bye.